Good morning. Welcome to Tucson New Thought. I'm Reverend Jonathan Zenz. It's July 1st, 2018. Today is Canada Day, so I want to say a special shout out to everyone who's watching from Canada. I know that there are a bunch of you who watch from Canada because I was there for a long time, and I'm celebrating today right with you. So today is a day where we're launching a new theme for the month, and the theme for the month is freedom of the soul. So everything this month is going to be all around the concept of freedom. What does freedom mean, and how do we engage in freedom? So before we really launch into that concept though, let's take a breath and allow ourselves to go to that place of recognizing the freedom within our soul through the act of centering. I love centering as a spiritual practice because it really allows me to simply relax right where I am, come into that place of focus, to know who I am. And so I invite you right here and right now to just take a breath. Just allow yourself to settle in wherever you are. If you're sitting in a chair, if you're sitting in your bed, if you're sitting in an office, wherever you are, just relax. Let all the tension that you might be feeling just simply slip away. You're in charge of that, so just let it simply melt away. And allow yourself to come into a place of focus around your breath. Recognizing the easeful in and out of your breath. Allowing yourself to become aware of your surroundings right here and right now. Everything around you is part of your awareness right now. As I look around, I see trees, I see grass, I see mountains, I see sky. What do you see? Allow yourself to simply become aware of it, free of any judgment around it, free of any opinion around it. Just slip into that space of awareness. Everything that you see is a part of the infinite wholeness. Everything you see is divine. For everything you see began as an idea in an infinite mind that has come into expression in the here and now. Let us become aware and more aware and more aware of that in everything we think, say, and do at all times. And breathing into this, let's call this time that we've chosen to be together open. So today, ViaDia has provided us with a very special offering in music and word together. So I invite you to just sit back and relax and enjoy this experience of ViaDia.
Good morning, we are ViaDia, and today we have some music and some words by Nelson Mandela. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. I have walked that long road to freedom. I have tried not to falter. I have made missteps along the way, but I have discovered that the secret, after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills. One only finds that there are many more hills to climb. I have taken a moment here to rest, to steal a view of the glorious vista that surrounds me, to look back on the distance I have come. But I can only rest for a moment, for with freedom comes responsibilities, and I dare not linger, for my long walk is not ended. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. Namaste.
Thank you, Olivia. Thank you, Nadia. Olivia Avanzato and Nadia Stefanik make up ViaDia, and I'm so grateful for everything that they bring to this experience of our virtual celebration each Sunday. They're always thinking outside the box and coming up with great ideas for the music we have to offer and new ideas for how we present artistically in this particular venue. We have a lot of stuff that's coming up that we have in the works, and I'm very excited to be able to announce that I'm thinking this week. So keep an eye out. If you've not signed up for our mailing list, you can sign up for our mailing list at TucsonNewThought.org right on our website. But today is all about freedom. It's all about freedom. And I'm going to start with this. So there's this political cartoon that's been going around. I've seen it on social media. I've seen it on Facebook. And basically what this cartoon shows is it's a doctor in a doctor's office, and the patient is sitting on the examination table. The doctor is looking at his chart, and he says, at least the caption reads as though it's the doctor speaking, "Here's your problem. It looks like you're paying attention to what's going on." It looks like you're paying attention to what's going on. There's a lot going on in this world right now, and some of it is not that easy to observe. And one of the things that I always suggest to people is that we don't go into what we call spiritual bypass, which is to look at it blindly and say, oh, it's all good, it's all God, it's all unfolding perfectly easily and effortlessly, when we know that there is something we can do about it in activity. Because here's the deal. Spiritual bypass is relegating the importance of our decision around how things unfold to somebody else. We're giving up our place of choice when we go into spiritual bypass. We can do something about it. So I did something about one of the things that I've been experiencing here in the United States over the last couple weeks, and that is I decided to go to the Keeping Families Together rally here in Tucson, right at Armory Park. Now, this was one of hundreds and hundreds of rallies all over the country, all with the purpose of claiming the inherent rights, the human rights of all the immigrants that are crossing our borders, and stating that they should not be treated like criminals. Especially, most of them are seeking asylum, and they have a right to do that in our world. But what it brought up for me as I was experiencing the rally yesterday is actually one of the more challenging aspects of this teaching. And this is one of those things that comes up in classes when we're teaching spirituality. When I teach classes in spirituality, there's a particular principle that we teach that always gets challenged with the very notion of things like this happening in the world. But before I get to that question, let me explain the principle. The principle is this. We have freedom, and freedom comes with the power of personal responsibility. We have freedom, and freedom comes with the power of personal responsibility. Ernest Holmes writes, "Freedom is the birthright of every living soul." Freedom is the birthright of every living soul. For freedom really is that great gift of being. And the freedom that we have lies in choice. We are always in a place of choice. We are never without choice. One who gives up the power to think for oneself, that is, one who is giving up their power of choice, they're giving up their power to think for themselves, they give up the very freedom inherent in their soul. Freedom is the birthright of every living soul, and we experience that freedom through infinite choice. We are always at choice in every circumstance. Sometimes that can seem hard because sometimes we feel like the circumstances are working against us. At the personal level, sometimes we feel that. But we always have choice. When we abdicate any responsibility, when we give up our freedom, frequently what we go to is that place of a scapegoat. We're looking for somebody to blame. That's just abdicating our own responsibility. Personal responsibility is one of the most powerful, life-changing practices to embody. Personal responsibility, really for me, is when we ask of ourselves this question. Given the circumstances seen before me, given the circumstances that I'm experiencing, given the circumstances of the world, what can I do? What can I do? Far too many of us live in that place of I can't. But I always say, let's turn that around. Instead of saying, I can't, which is a narrow focus, open up that focus and say, well, what can I do? Personal responsibility is freedom to choose our path. And every single living being has the freedom to choose their path. Freedom is the birthright of every living soul. Freedom is a great gift of being. Freedom lies in choice. We are never, ever, ever without. So I say this because here's the challenge that comes up in classes that I talked about. What about the children? What about the children? I get asked this question all the time. What about the children? What about the children who are born into a particular set of circumstances? What about the children who are born with terminal disease? What about the children who are abused? What about the children who are living in poverty? Are you saying, this is what students ask me, are you saying they chose this? Well, the challenge of that question is that as a minister, I can't answer that question sufficiently. I cannot answer that question sufficiently to soften the inherent truth. And the truth is this: freedom lies in choice. What I will not say that anyone has chosen this consciously. No child has chosen this consciously. No one would choose these things consciously. No one would choose to live in bondage consciously. The degree to which we experience bondage, I believe, is a choice that is made subconsciously. It's made below the level of awareness. The other thing that I also bring up is that the development of a child's mind is subject to the conscious and thinking patterns in which they are immersed. So they're subject to what we call the race consciousness, the consciousness all around them, which is born of their community, their culture, their parents. They're more subject to it because they're learning how to become independent thinkers through their immersion in this consciousness. They get to make choices based on their ideas and their reactions and their observations within that. That's what we've all gone through. So I ask myself this: in what way am I personally contributing to the development of a young mind? If the young mind is subject to the consciousness in which they are immersed, what consciousness am I providing? How am I acting in that? The freedom to choose is mine. I have the choice to do something about the atrocities that I see in this world. And I have the choice, if I so choose, to not do anything. That's something that doesn't work for me. I must do something. So that's why I show up at the rally yesterday. I choose to do something, whatever I can do to address these atrocities. Frankly, these are crimes against humanity. So I show up, I speak out, and I vote. I do whatever I can to make change in this world. That's why I decided to show up at the rally. This is why I have been daily speaking out on social media. That's one of the bigger platforms at my disposal for my voice to be proliferated and heard. That is why I almost daily call upon everyone to encourage them to vote. You remember that political cartoon I mentioned right at the top, the one about the doctor? Here's the reason that cartoon works. It works because it's playing off of our feelings of hopelessness. We're not hopeless in this. There's an inherent truth at the core of our being that knows that as we act in support of the greater good for all humanity, the better our lives become. The better our lives become and the better the lives of everyone around us become. We must not give in to hopelessness, ever. We must show up, we must speak out. We have the power to make lasting change in the treatment of all God's children. Let us stand up for truth. Let us stand up for love, and let us exercise our freedom of choice to make change. Namaste. So taking a breath and allowing ourselves to relax into the inherent truth of our soul, I invite you now to take out whatever it is that you choose to offer this center in terms of an investment, your tithe, your contribution to this center, and recognize it for what it is, that it is an expression of love that is given to this organization that stands up for the rights of all God's children, that stands up for humanity at all times. And as you give with an open heart and recognizing that this divine gift is something that blesses this experience of life, this organization, so that we can do great good in the world, so that we can continue to spread this message of love and compassion. I am so grateful for all that you give to this center, and I am so humbled by your support. We are continuing our startup campaign. We're only about 50% of the way to our $10,000 goal. And I'm going to encourage you, in addition to making your regular Sunday contribution, if you can give a little bit more to the startup campaign that will help us to be able to secure a spot and a home for this organization so that we can meet in person and do great good work in this world. So thank you for all that you give, and thank you for your heart in support of this center. I do want to let you know that the virtual celebration is going to be changing up, because next week, next Sunday, July 8th, we will be meeting somewhere in person. I don't know where that place is yet, but I should know by the middle of the week. There are a couple possibilities that have come up, and I'm just going to clarify what the requirements for those would be and be able to make an announcement by the middle of the week. So I encourage you to, if you're in Tucson, to come out, join me next week, and we will get to celebrate as a community together in person. I'm so excited to be able to get back to that paradigm. So take a breath. Recognizing the love right here, right now, within our hearts. I trust and know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that we are all immersed in good. We are all immersed in love, for that is the very nature of this divinity. So let's close our time together in spiritual mind treatment. If it's comfortable and you'd like to, you're welcome to close your eyes, relaxing right here, right now, into this present moment. For I know that there is only one power, one presence, one infinite creative resource for all that is. There is only God, and there is only good. There is only love. This is who and what each and every one of us is. Our identity is God, good, love. We are that which is. There is absolutely no separation. And so, knowing this, I recognize that each and every one of us has at our core the power of love, the power of good, and the power of God, always unfolding. And we get to use this power, and so I choose to use this power right here and right now, placing my mind on the inherent nature of freedom. Freedom at the core of our beingness, freedom at the core of our soul, knowing that every single person I encounter is touched by this freedom, and I get to make choices in my life that support only freedom and dignity and the greatest human experience possible. Every single person I encounter, I choose to experience from the point of view of love only. And I trust and know that each of us at the core of our beingness, each of us at the core of our soul, does exactly the same thing. We approach life from the point of view of love only. and in love, we give over to the freedom inherent in our being. And so it is with great gratitude that I simply relax and allow this word to unfold, knowing it is the law unto my soul that comes to fruition in this world of form and in the experience of form. I trust this, I know this, and I simply allow this. Releasing this word, I let it be so, as together we say, and so it is. Thank you all for watching today. Do keep an eye out on social media platforms and on our email, if you get our email, for the announcement around where we will meet next Sunday. I look forward to that day, and I look forward to how we continue to grow and evolve as a spiritual community. Love to you all. Namaste.